Hello and welcome back to the channel. Summer is nearly upon us, and when I look out my window and I see a view like this, I can't help but think, man, this is a great day to stay inside and play video games. But no, that was not meant to be. You see, I was hoping to get on the beta last night and do my final testing of the classes and specs I hadn't really gotten to yet, and so I could make my video on which class I was going to main. I got on my laptop, and for some reason it wouldn't load the beta. I'd click play on the launcher, it'd say the game is running, my cursor would change to a gauntlet, but no game would pop up. I put in a ticket, got a response back like immediately, and they gave me 50 things to do that could fix the problem, and I did all of them, but none of them worked. So I put in a response ticket, but I still haven't heard back from them yet. So in the meantime, I said, okay, I'll get on my not my laptop, but my desktop, which is able to load the beta, but I kept getting this. And this. And this. Finally, I got on a different character and I was able to log in and get in and play, but something just seemed a little off. As you can see, this is what happened. So I logged onto my druid and I started running around. I noticed there was nothing really going on with mobs. I could hit stuff. After a while, my damage would register, but nothing really was attacking me. Everything was ridiculously slowed down. My abilities would take forever. I was going through and checking and seeing if, what's going on. I switched targets. I moved around. I ran around. I tried using all kinds of different abilities. I tried doing different things. Everything was just at a slow standstill. Then I started to wonder what's causing this. I checked my latency. My latency wasn't bad at all. I'm just sitting here trying to press buttons and see what's going on, and it's like the system was broke or something. And I checked around. I looked on various different social media, and people were complaining about slow and being unplayable. And I guess technically you could consider this slow and unplayable. But look, my latency is not bad at all. I'm still getting good frames per second. I guess 30 frames per second is not awful, but it's better than it should have been better than what I was seeing. It was just the whole gameplay was just really, really broken, and everything on here was just ridiculous. It's like, you can't play like this. You can't do this. This kind of gameplay is just not going to work on the beta. And this is the thing. I was seeing this from so many different sources, but there was nothing put out from Blizzard, nothing on a forum anywhere, nothing that said, hey, we're having some issues with the beta. Don't log in while we get them fixed. Or, hey, let's shut everything down and try and make this problem, correct it in somehow. So I was very upset. I couldn't log on to the characters I wanted to log on to anyway, because the only ones that seemed to be able to log on was ones that were outside of a major city. So that kind of ended it for that. Well, as you can tell from the title, this might be a source of the nerd rage that I've been referring to, but the reality is this was just the icing on the cake to an already nerd rage filled day. So like most of you, I like to watch videos on YouTube, especially WoW videos. I subscribe to the likes of Bellular, Preach, Taliesin, and Eveltel, to name a few. Some of these folks have more time on their hands to get their deep dives into the nitty gritty, and I can definitely appreciate that. So I saw a video Preach did on tank threat, and I made a response to it. I had done my testing of tanks and healers, and this video made some of the problems I experienced as a healer make sense. So, as such, I left a comment. Now, I got a good deal of likes on the comment. There was like 35 or something, and to me that seems like a good amount. And I also got a variety of comments and responses back. Now, I like a good conversation and discussion, so I responded back to some of them, and some responses, I got some responses back, and for others, I didn't get responses back. So then I got this response. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This is a troll. Don't go for it. Well, hindsight's often 20/20, and I thought maybe this person just didn't get what I was trying to convey. So I responded, he responded, I got a little triggered, and then he made his final comment, which pretty much sent me off the rails. You see, I'm not all talk. I'm also not so full of myself that I think I'm incapable of being wrong, so I let this motherfucker know what was up. I challenge him to show me he was right. Of course, he backtracks a little bit and then goes on back on the offensive to talk about my egotistical way of thinking before proving that he didn't even listen to a thing I said. A good tank is not going to be the cause of problems. The problem is going to happen with all the nubs who thought they could tank because Legion made it ridiculously easy with artifacts, as was stated in the video. The best part about all of this, the very best part about all of this, is this troll doesn't even have access to the beta. Are you f***ing kidding me? All his talk was based on zero experience with the changes and, most likely, on what he has seen in videos. So, that is the end of my rant on that, but I thought I'd throw in a little gameplay of my testing out the Unholy DK from a few nights ago. I was going to use this for my previous video, but it would have required a lot more editing than I was willing to do at the time, but I figured that since I can't do any more testing, I've got time to edit. So, let's get to it. Alright, so the clip I'm going to show you right now is going to be Freehold. It's pretty quick. I sped it up for time purposes. It was like 20 minutes. The first part of it was fairly uneventful. I was pretty much impressed with DK. I've never really played Unholy DK, and I was kind of surprised with the AoE. Now, granted, you had to have things hit right, and if you can see here, the tank's health is dipped a lot. A couple times here. I have to try to use some of my cooldowns. I'm trying to help, but right now things are going fairly okay. And I wasn't really thinking so much when I was making this video about the tank aggro issues, but these first groups of ads are fairly weak, and they were handled fairly easily. I mean, I'm keeping up on my own self. I'm using my Death Strike when I can to keep my own health up. The rest of the group is pretty much keeping their distance, I guess you could say. We continued with more pulls. The tanks, Demon Hunter tanks are really, really good. This tank is like surprising me at how minimally, how much he's letting his health drop. But like I said, he's got a resto druid healing him, and he's doing all right. So this boss right here didn't really give a whole lot of problems either. I mean, there's not a lot to really deal with here. I started trying to play around with cooldowns and stuff like that and see what I could do. Really non-issue with this boss. I mean, you can see some of the group is taking damage, but I mean, that's to be expected. It's not a lot of damage. That kind of thing, easy to heal. Non-issue. It's not an issue of the boss, a loss of threat or anything like that. It's just the boss does AoE damage. It's not super significant. It was easy money, you know what I'm saying? So moving on is when things started getting a little bit dicey. So we get to here. There's one ad right there. We kind of pretty much handle him without any issues. The real problems come on the other side of the bridge. Yeah, it was not. This is like, okay, I'm not a healer here. I'm not trying to keep everything up. I am a DPSer. I am actually a noobish DPSer because this is not the class I play. This tank decides he's going to face roll this and pull everything in this area. Things stun. The tank's getting his ass handed to him. I'm popping cooldowns. I'm doing stuff trying to keep myself up. But the tank's taking lots of damage. The hunter's taking lots of damage. The druid's taking, not the druid, but the shaman's taking damage. The tank died, and guess what? Bam, I'm dead too. And look, now the shaman and the druid, everyone is dead. So we're all dead. Everyone's dead. We start to respawn. I was like, okay, I might have raged a little bit at the tank. I wouldn't say I raged a little bit. I said he shouldn't have pulled so much. And well, look, he's pulling stuff again, and we've got half a group. Nothing like. Well, at least we have a healer. So we start trying to get this stuff again. These ads stun, which is very problematic. That's probably what happened, is the healer got stunned. But situational awareness. You can't sit there and try and pull a whole room that's full of ads that stun and then just expect the healer not to be affected. So we're going through a little more, and I'm wondering why everyone else is not rezzing at this point, but the healer gets them back up. he throws some huts on them, and the tank starts to pull more. It's a little bit smaller pool. Uh, they're still having the stunning issues and throwing us up in the air and all that other bullshit. So, but the tank's health, it just keeps dropping. It's like the healer is working pretty hard to keep him up. But he dips. He has this tendency to dip, which makes me think he's not utilizing his cooldowns regularly or as regularly as he should. So we're getting some more big pulls, and everything's still staying relatively grouped up real well. Not losing a whole lot of aggro, so that's good. I'm pretty sure we get a good majority of these without too much more issues. So things seem like they're back on track, and I'm kind of getting the idea at this time that maybe it was just he overdid it, and I wasn't really thinking anything of it. Again, not thinking about the tank aggro issues, because I'm pretty sure I filmed this a couple days before that came out, or maybe a day before it came out. But we're sitting there, we're killing stuff. It seems like everything is back on track. The tank is kind of jumping around a little bit. I'm trying to keep close to him because, I mean, obviously, if I don't want to have ads running to me if he's, all over the place. But yeah, we're keeping him going. He's not losing too much aggro. I'm keeping things close enough to him so nothing's going to wander. I don't know if you see this, but I'm dropping a spell called Defile, and it seems to be doing its job. So we pull this group right here, and this is not a fun pull because you've got multiple ads to deal with, and well, at least the one we need to kill is marked with skull. But this is the ad that jumps around, and he'll go and he'll shoot you, is basically what he'll do. He'll bounce around to a corner while you're far away, and he'll blast you to smithereens. And then, of course, now we've got extra stuff getting pulled from the side over there. This is one of those areas where you really should clear the room on either side so you have a little bit more room to navigate with, because one of the bosses there will do a knockback and it can throw you into a group. So we're still getting it taken care of, and we got it downed. Not really too bad of a problem, but we're tanks already, like, nobody's completely looting, and the tank's already on the next pull. Again, if you see me, I'm putting down Defile. It has a slow effect on it, so it kind of helps the situation with ads not really being able to run. But this tank is just jumping around, and you can see right now he's starting to lose aggro. People are starting to take more damage, but it's still manageable. We haven't gotten to that next level where ads are out of control and the tank is just, he hasn't lost complete control yet. So yeah, we're moving through. And again, this whole time I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we're back. He had an off moment. We're still back on track. Well, we got a little bit more ads here. I'm trying to do my best to keep everything together, because I know that if stuff starts to run, it gets harder to deal with. But as you'll see here, he's moving around more and pulling more ads. And look, everybody's taking damage, but still it's fairly manageable. We're able to take him out. The hunter's barraging like it's going out of style. But yeah, we're still able to take it down. It's just these little hints keep coming, and this tank's just biting off just a little bit more than he can chew. But not so much yet that he's choking, And again, at this time when all this is going through, I'm just thinking, okay, yeah, that was one occurrence. We're fine. Everything's fine. Let's just keep the show on the road. Still a little bit mad about the whole, not really killing stuff, but I'm sitting here, I don't know what I was doing, but apparently someone had pulled another ad and I wasn't really paying attention. So it was one thing, they killed it, whatever. But yeah, this next boss is stupid. The first thing they throw out is this pig, and you have to catch a greased pig. It's like the Ring of Blood kind of event, but the first thing you have to do is catch a greased pig. I think Blizzard's trying to be funny. I caught the pig. It was like, whatever. All right, and then the next thing they do is this giant turtle boss. Turtle boss is fairly weak. You kill him pretty easy. There's a lot of dialogue where they're making a big show of it, but yeah, it's pretty easy. During this part, I experimented with my cooldown some more. Apparently the hunter was doing something wrong, because I think he might end up dying or close to. I think someone died in this fight. I might be mistaken. These runs start to run into each other after a while, but I don't recall this being too terribly difficult, that particular fight. I think the shark fist guy, kind of got a little bit out of control, but Yeah, again, this is like a lot of fanfare. It's this whole fight is so stupid and goofy. You're fighting against a turtle, then after catching a greased pig, now you're fighting an ogre with freaking shark hands or shark fist or something, and he throws the sharks around, and the hunter died right there. I don't know what he did, but yeah, this fight is goofy and it's stupid, but I mean, I guess there's an element to it. The shark chases me around. I guess I'm supposed to kite him. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but all I know is I'm not going to sit there and take damage because I will most likely die given the healing situation. I guess the hunter got a battle res, but yeah, we sit there, we down the shark fist guy. Yeah, let's stand in his whirlwind or not. But it wasn't terribly difficult at this point. I think the biggest issues with this dungeon were the ads, and I mean it's pretty much the issue with tanking is that the a tank can handle a boss. They got one thing to keep threat on, they can handle it. It's not a problem. Problem is that when you've got lots of ads and you've got situations, this next bridge is where I remember there being problems. The the ads have to be controlled and you have to keep aggro on everything. And some of the ads in this dungeon, they do things like grip you in with their chains, or they'll stun you, or they'll blow you up into the air. And this particular part, this is where there's another issue with ads, that there's a whole bunch of them grouped together, and I'm pretty sure we all end up dying here because, of course, the tank decides to pull a shitload of ads, and they do crazy stuff. And look, he's already dead, and then bam, I'm dead. It was just that fast because I'm melee and I'm standing next to him trying to get control of this, and I'm like getting a little frustrated because this is ridiculous because he's pulling so much, and it's like, why are you pulling so much? And it's like he's like just having a good old time, like he thinks it's no big deal. This is just it's a fun thing to do, and let's pull everything. And oh, it's testing, let's just have fun testing. I'm like, no, look, it's not fun to keep dying, especially when I've done this like dozens of times, and it's not that hard if you just you know do what you're supposed to do and tank like you're supposed to tank, and DPS, try and hit what the tank is hitting. Use your cooldowns, don't make life harder for everyone else. And it's like, if everyone does what they're supposed to do, it's fun, you can get through it, and you get gear and you level up, and it's a good time is had by all. But when people are doing stupid ass stuff and don't really care and think they can face roll it, it stops being fun. This next boss is easy, and we pretty much face roll him and kill him, and it's not really that was pretty much the end of our problems. But realistically, I don't think the beta has been out for long enough. These dungeons have been out for long enough. People in this, have run this enough times to where it should not be the problem that it is. I kind of, only reason why I do a dungeon is because I don't want to go through and do a lot of questing, because that's going to ruin the story for me. Doing this beta, it's going to ruin the story, and I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to test the different classes and specs out and get an idea of that. That's what I'm looking to do. That's what I'm trying to do. And it's hard to do that kind of thing when you're in a group and people are just face rolling it, and that's what we have to look forward to. So that is going to do it for me. I'm this just an example of what I was saying and what was causing me all my nerd rage. But if you like this video, please like or subscribe, comment, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought, tell me if you got triggered, tell me if you think I overreacted, or you think I was crying and being noobish or whatever. I'm open to it. If you're going to tell me why I'm bad, I am more than willing to listen. But make sure you tell me why. Don't just tell me I'm a noob and stop crying, because that doesn't accomplish anything. Whenever I make comments or I say anything, I put my evidence to back it up. Or if I say it's my opinion, it's just my opinion. It's based on my experiences, and everyone is entitled to their opinion, and you're entitled to yours, and I like to hear it, especially if you can tell me stuff. I've enjoyed several of the comments I've gotten on these videos because people have insightful things. They say things like, "This is my experience. This is what I've seen." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool," and it's a conversation, and the conversation is what makes this fun. So, thank you again. That's going to do it for me, and I will see you next time.